When three bullies cornered Kareem behind the gym, they expected fear. But within seconds, one was on the ground, and the others learned what it meant to mess with the wrong kid. Hardly anyone noticed when Kareem Tolliver walked through the front entrance of Millstone High in Lansing, Michigan. No murmurs, no curious stares, just another transfer halfway through the term. His backpack looked beaten, his hoodie faded, and he moved with that careful quiet that comes from learning to size up a room before opening your mouth. It was a bitter Monday morning with snow melting into dirty puddles, and the bell cut sharp through the corridors. Kareem paused at his locker, scanning the flow of students. He wasn't nervous. He just knew the pattern. Keep your head down, get through classes, don't draw attention. When he slipped into first period math, a few kids gave a quick glance. A girl whispered. The teacher gave a polite nod toward a seat in the back, and the lesson continued. Kareem preferred it that way. Silence wasn't new. Back in Detroit, it had often meant safety. He never flashed clothes or chased attention. His uncle called it blending, the art of being unseen in neighborhoods where notice could cost you. But Millstone wasn't Detroit. Here, students flashed brand logos, fresh cuts, loud confidence. They owned the space like a stage. Nobody insulted him outright, but he caught the looks at his worn shoes, the way a classmate eyed his second-hand hoodie like it didn't belong. By the third day, he sat alone at lunch, tray of spaghetti, an apple and milk. Quiet. Steady, then came the voice, mocking. Yo, what even is that? You bring it from home? Kareem looked up at Brock Simmons, tall, cocky in a varsity jacket, football co-captain, and self-crowned king of juniors, with two shadows flanking him. Kareem stayed silent. Man eats like it's World War II rations. Brock laughed loud enough for nearby tables. Some chuckled, others looked away. Kareem just kept eating, eyes down. One friend leaned close. You hear me? Deaf or slow, Kareem glanced once, then rose, grabbed his milk, and left without a word. No drama, no comeback, but that didn't end it. Later, someone dumped his books off a desk in science. After school, charity case, scrawled across his locker in marker. It wiped clean, but the sting remained. That night, he took the number 10 bus across town to his uncle's gym behind a repair shop. The air reeked of sweat and leather before he even pushed through the door. Uncle Reggie looked up from taping someone's wrists. Rough day, Kareem shrugged. School, Reggie just nodded, motioned to the mats. Let it out. Kareem changed, stepped up and unleashed. Fast jabs, pivots, counters, sharp, disciplined, every punch a memory of lessons drilled in. He didn't fight for ego. He fought to stay centered, to never let anger own him. But a cafeteria moment sparked something bigger than he intended. That small scene should have vanished with the bell, just another dumb joke. But for Brock Simmons, it wasn't about the words. It was about the way Kareem hadn't reacted. No flinch, no fear, just calm, and that unsettled him. By week's end, whispers spread through the locker room. The new kid's got an attitude, doesn't talk, just stares. They said it like a crime. And come gym class, fate paired Kareem with Brock for basketball drills. The coach barked out pairings, and the boys lined up. Kareem didn't even flinch when Brock fired the ball into his chest harder than needed. Come on, Tolliver. Let's see it. Kareem dribbled twice. We're just passing, right? Yeah, just passing. But when he lobbed it back, the ball cut through the air and smacked against Brock's ribs with a crack that turned heads. Brock blinked, the sound echoing, while a couple guys laughed under their breath. That was the moment Brock decided Kareem rubbed him the wrong way. From then on, it turned into little things. Remarks muttered in the hallway, gum stuck inside his locker, a trip near the vending machines. Kareem never reacted, never tattled, just moved on. But silence in a place like Millstone was fuel, and Brock had the match. Lunchtime became theater. Brock would shout across the room, "Hey Detroit, you bring your vest today?" or "Forget it at home." Laughter followed, some uneasy, some genuine. Kareem kept his eyes on his food. Logan Ferris leaned toward Brock, whispering loud enough, "I swear he's not normal, man, doesn't even blink." Brock grinned. "He's not crazy, he's just another hood story waiting to play out." That one cut deeper. After school, Kareem quickened his pace to the bus. He'd lived around escalation long enough to recognize the rhythm, but this one felt aimed at him. At home, Uncle Reggie caught it in his jawline. You holding back something? Kareem gave a small nod. Reggie set down his mug. Sometimes holding back is harder than throwing the punch. You're not there to prove anything. You're there to graduate, to build. Kareem nodded again. Reggie's eyes softened, then sharpened. But don't let someone trample you either. Kareem stayed silent, but the point stuck. At school, whispers twisted into stories. He had a record, got expelled from his old school, fought a teacher years back. None true, but none questioned. In history class, Brock leaned forward. You ever seen a fight up close, Tolliver? Kareem didn't answer. I mean real blood on the floor. Kareem finally looked back. You don't want that kind. Brock smirked. That a threat? It's a warning, and his grin slipped just a fraction. The next day, he made his move. Kareem left sixth period with headphones in, headed for the back lot where the late buses pulled in. Brock and two shadows drifted behind. Tolliver. Kareem turned, pulled out an earbud. You think you're tough? Number, you act like it. I act like I want space. You don't get to choose that. Kareem's shoulders locked. You done? Brock stepped closer, not even close. The bell rang inside, kids spilling through the doors, but the moment froze between them. What Brock didn't realize was he was pressing against a wall trained not to break, but to strike. Friday came cold, wind cutting across the parking lot as kids scattered to buses and cars. Kareem stayed behind, helping Mr. Patel stack desks by the exit, avoiding the crowd. Brock had planned it. By the time Kareem circled the gym, the lot was mostly clear. A few cars left, no teachers. Brock waited near the dumpsters with Logan and Ty, posturing casual with hands stuffed in pockets. Kareem clocked them and kept walking, backpack slung loose over his shoulder, step steady. Hey, Brock called. Kareem stopped about 10 feet away. Too good to answer me? I didn't come for you, Brock sneered. You didn't come here at all. You got dropped here. Kareem narrowed his eyes. What do you want? Logan drifted off to the side like a circling dog, while Ty leaned back, chewing gum, as if the whole thing wasn't his problem. I want to know what makes you think you're special, Brock said. You sit there alone, staring at everyone like you're above us. I'm not above anybody. I'm just keeping to myself. No, you're disrespecting me, Brock shot back. Kareem's gaze locked on his. If you've got something to prove, then prove it. That's when Logan lunged, shoving Kareem's chest with both hands, sloppy and untrained. Kareem didn't move, didn't retaliate. His voice stayed low. Brock chuckled. Go again, Logan. So Logan swung, a wild punch toward Kareem's shoulder. He missed, because Kareem slid in close, twisted, swept, and Logan smacked the pavement hard enough to make Ty flinch. Ty started to speak, but froze as Kareem turned his eyes on Brock. Don't, he warned, but Brock couldn't leave it. He charged, banking on size, throwing his fist high. Kareem ducked under, pivoted, and drove his elbow into Brock's ribs, enough to fold him sideways. Ty instantly backed up, hands raised. Yo, chill. 12 seconds, maybe less, and it was over. Brock on one knee gasping, Logan sprawled by the dumpster, Ty staring like he'd seen someone bend steel. Kareem didn't celebrate, didn't boast, just stood there. That's when Mr. Langford rounded the corner. What's going on here? Brock scrambled upright. He jumped us. Kareem stared at him. You serious? I didn't touch you. He's insane, Brock snapped. Langford looked them over. No blood, no bruises, just rattled boys and one calm kid standing still. Come with me. They filed to the office in silence. In the waiting area, Kareem sat across from Brock, who muttered threats under his breath. Logan phoned his dad. Ty said nothing. Inside, Langford studied Kareem. Tell me what happened. Kareem told him plainly. No lies, no exaggerations. Langford listened, then leaned back. You're lucky no one's bleeding. Kareem didn't reply. You know this school's zero tolerance, right? I didn't start it. Doesn't matter who starts it. What matters is who ends it. Kareem kept his eyes on the desk. Maybe you should talk to the ones who stood there and watched. For a moment, Langford had no answer. But when the dust cleared, Kareem wasn't leaving that room as a hero. By Monday, Millstone buzzed with whispers. Kareem couldn't cross a hallway without kids stepping aside. Not respect, fear. He wasn't invisible anymore. He was marked. In class, the kid who sat behind him moved seats. In the cafeteria, no one cracked jokes or taunted. Just silence, and that silence carried weight. He ate alone, same as before, but now the isolation had meaning. At another table, Brock spun the story like he'd been jumped. "Psycho," he muttered to his crew. "Jude came at us like it was a fight movie, took Logan down like Bruce Lee or something. No normal kid does that." Ty stayed quiet. Logan didn't show at all. A girl challenged him. "But didn't you corner him?" Brock snapped. "Nah, we were just talking." He lost it. She didn't buy it, but she didn't push. In gym, Coach Rowlands didn't pair Kareem with anyone, just told him to shadow drills. No explanation, no argument. Kareem obeyed. After school, he skipped the gym. Instead, he drifted home the long way, past the corner store, and through an alley he hadn't touched since moving here, looking for air, for space, for a place where his head could settle. At home, Uncle Reggie sat watching a replay of some old UFC fight. Kareem dropped his bag by the door and sank onto the couch. "Rough one?" Reggie asked. "People are acting different now. You expected gratitude?" "No, I just didn't think they'd start looking at me like I'm dangerous." Reggie clicked the TV off. "Son, when you defend yourself and come out on top, folks see power, and power unsettles the loudest, weakest voices." Kareem stared down at the floor. "I didn't even go full out. I held back." "I know," Reggie said. "But that doesn't matter. They only saw the part where you expose something Brock can't handle. What do I do now? Keep your head straight. Remember why you're here." Kareem stayed silent, though deep down he wished a part of him had gone harder. Back at school, the atmosphere shifted even more. A few teachers gave him long, measured looks. The guidance counselor pulled him aside for a meeting. "Just want to make sure you're adjusting," she said with a tight smile. "Mid-year transfers can be rough." Kareem nodded. She tilted her head. "Do you ever feel angry?" His eyes narrowed. "No reason, just asking." He stood and walked out before she finished her sentence. That night, a blurry clip hit social media. The caption read, "Thinks he's in a movie, scared yet?" Posted from Brock's burner. The comments flew fast. Some praised him. Jude dropped Logan like nothing. "Don't mess with him," others piled on. "Nah, he's messed up. Why is he even here?" Kareem scrolled through it again and again, a knot tightening in his chest. He wasn't ashamed of what happened, but the story wasn't his anymore. The next morning, 2 security guards stood at the school entrance, which wasn't normal during homeroom. Over the PA, the principal's voice echoed. "All students involved in last week's altercation are under review. A hearing will be held Thursday." Kareem didn't react. He stared straight ahead. It was official now, but Brock wasn't done. He wasn't used to losing. Not on the field, not in the halls, and especially not with a crowd watching. That fight hadn't just bruised his ribs, it cracked his pride. So he did what guys like him always do when control slips. He twisted the story. It started as whispers to staff, comments about feeling unsafe around Kareem. Then rumors spread. Kareem had been expelled from 2 schools before Millstone. He'd broken a kid's nose in middle school. He carried a blade in his bag. Lies, every one of them, but no one cared to ask. The video Brock pushed kept circulating, clipped right before Logan swung, edited so Kareem looked like the predator. Calm, precise, threatening, Brock added captions. "Watch how he moves, not normal." Then hashtags. "Millstone threat doesn't belong." Comments turned darker. "He's not like us. Bet he came from juvie. Kick him out before something worse happens." Kareem saw every word. He didn't argue, he didn't post. But silence carried its own price. Tuesday, his mom got a call from the school. By Wednesday, the district had scheduled a formal hearing. Reggie cleared his day to stand with him. The conference room was plain, a long table splitting the space. On one side, Principal Langford, a board member and the head of discipline. On the other, Kareem, Reggie, and a folder of written statements. Reggie made him prepare. Brock wasn't even there. His version already lingered in theater. Langford cleared his throat. "We've had serious concerns raised by students, staff, and parents. We must determine if Kareem Tolliver poses a continuing safety threat." Reggie leaned forward. "My nephew isn't a threat. He's trained. He didn't seek a fight. He tried to walk away. He warned them." The board member peered over his glasses. "Is it true he has combat training?" Reggie didn't blink. "Yes. But training isn't violence. It's restraint. It's the knowledge of how not to hurt someone One of the assistant principals spoke up. There's a video circulating. We don't see what starts the altercation. Of course you don't, Reggie cut in because it was edited. The room went still. Kareem finally broke his silence. They came after me. I never swung first. I didn't even want to be there. And yet, the board member replied, tapping the folder in front of him, we have statements describing your involvement in a physical confrontation. So what was I supposed to do? Kareem asked steadily. Just let them beat me. The silence hung heavy. Reggie leaned back. This isn't just about a fight, it's about perception. You see a quiet black boy defend himself, and suddenly he's the problem. Langford shifted in his chair, uneasy. The board member jotted something down, then announced the decision would be delayed. They needed more time. Outside, Reggie let out a slow breath. You handled yourself well, doesn't feel like it. They heard you, even if they won't admit it, they did. That night, Kareem barely touched his dinner, sitting instead on the back steps, eyes on the sky, feeling upside down. He had done what was right, yet somehow he was still under suspicion. He wondered if there was ever a right way to exist, but the real shift came from someone unexpected. Thursday morning, the halls felt tighter than usual, no verdict yet, but everyone walked as if it had already been handed down. Kareem moved like a ghost, present but untouchable. By lunch, his usual table in the back felt colder than ever. Halfway through his apple, a girl slid into the seat across from him. Short, auburn hair, oversized glasses, sketchpad always in hand, Delaney Foster. She didn't waste time with greetings. I saw everything, she whispered. Kareem blinked. Behind the gym, I was sketching. I didn't want to get dragged into it, but I saw it all. Kareem hesitated. Why tell me now? Because if they expel you for Brock's lie, then my silence makes me complicit. You're not playing with me? He asked. No, she said firmly. I've already told the assistant principal. I'll testify at the follow-up. That night when Reggie came home, Kareem told him. She's gonna testify? You trust her? I don't know, but she sounded real. Reggie nodded. Sometimes the right people stay quiet until silence costs too much. Friday's follow-up hearing shifted the air. Delaney sat at the end of the table, nervous but steady, her voice trembling at first, then firm. They surrounded him 3-on-1. Logan swung first. Kareem defended himself. He told them to stop more than once. I saw all of it. The room shifted. Even Langford put his pen down. And why didn't you say anything earlier? The board member asked. I was scared, she admitted, but that's no excuse. Her voice cracked at the end, but the truth had landed. They dismissed the room. 15 minutes later, Kareem and Reggie walked into the biting wind of the parking lot. She didn't have to do that, Kareem said quietly. Reggie replied. But she did. The email came the next morning. Kareem Tolliver is not subject to disciplinary action. The evidence confirms he acted in self-defense. Reggie printed it out and stuck it on the fridge. Yet even with the case closed, Kareem knew the school wasn't the same. The next week, the halls were quieter. No remarks, no pushes. Brock never said a word to him again. He didn't even look his way. Logan returned, kept his head down. Ty drifted to another lunch table altogether. One afternoon, as Kareem slid books into his locker, Delaney passed by. She didn't speak, just lifted her hand in a quiet wave before continuing down the hall. Kareem's lips tugged into the faintest smile. Some things didn't need words. Still, the atmosphere around Millstone had shifted. Not only for him, but for others. He saw two freshmen stand tall against a bully near the gym. He saw a teacher finally shut down a cruel remark in class. Small changes, nothing dramatic, but real. Yet even after clearing his name, Kareem carried something heavier than bruises. When the final bell of the semester rang, chaos swept through to halls. Lockers slamming, laughter echoing, kids shouting plans for winter break. Kareem lingered at his locker longer than usual, letting the tide of students rush past. No hearings, no rumors, no threats, but peace that was more complicated. Surviving wasn't the same as healing. As he started to leave, Miss Curtis, his English teacher, stopped him. Kareem, can I ask you something? He turned. We've got a student assembly tomorrow. One of the speakers backed out. A few of us wondered if you'd want to say something. Kareem froze. Speak to the whole school. She gave him a small, encouraging smile. Only if you want to. I just think people should hear from you, not the version they've been fed, but you. Karim didn't answer, just gave a single nod and walked off. That night he sat cross-legged on his bedroom floor, a blank notebook open, pen idle in his hand. The page stayed empty for nearly an hour before he finally scrawled a single line. I didn't ask to be here, but I'm not going anywhere either. The next morning, the auditorium buzzed, filled wall to wall with students under dim lights, teachers lining the back. Karim stood backstage until his name was called. He stepped to the mic slowly, no paper, no rehearsed notes, just his voice. I've been called a lot since I got here. Weird, dangerous. Some of you still don't know what to make of me. Nervous laughter rippled. I didn't come here to fight. I came here to finish high school, same as everyone. To get through my day without drama. The crowd hushed. I'm not perfect. I've been angry, I've been hurt, I've made mistakes. But if the only story you know is the one someone else told, then you never knew me at all. The gym was still. I'm not from here. I'm from a city where keeping your head down keeps you alive, where you learn early when to speak and when to stay silent. I've learned that sometimes silence just makes people louder. He glanced at the teachers. I'm thankful for the ones who listened, and the ones who didn't. I'm still here. You didn't scare me away. In the middle rows, Delaney sat watching, face steady, eyes fixed. Karim's gaze swept the crowd one last time. What I'm saying is simple. Don't be so quick to put labels on people. You don't know their story. You don't know what they've had to carry. And maybe next time, instead of laughing, pushing, or posting something fake, maybe try asking. He stepped back, the mic clicking off into silence. For a moment, there was nothing, just the weight of stillness, until a single clap broke through, followed by another, until the room filled with measured, honest applause. Not loud, not exaggerated, but real. That day something shifted at Millstone High. Not everyone changed, but enough did. And sometimes that's all it takes to spark something new. Later, crossing the courtyard, a younger kid stopped him. You really trained to fight? Karim shrugged. I trained to stay ready, the boy smiled. Can you teach me? Karim studied him, then asked. You sure it's not about hurting people? The kid nodded. I just don't want to be scared anymore. Karim's lips curved into the faintest smile. All right then, first lesson, stand tall, even when it feels easier to shrink. Side by side, they walked toward the gate, not as teacher and student, but as two kids figuring out how to move forward. Because sometimes, the toughest fights aren't the ones with fists. They're the ones where you're forced to prove you belong in a world that keeps trying to push you out. If this story meant something to you, subscribe to the channel. We've got more stories worth hearing.